right, thank you so much for staying with the Monday Report Town Hall session. I just want to show you by a show of hands how many people have questions so that we see everybody. 30 seconds each. Let's take the questions in fours. Where are the microphones? Start with you. Yes, 30 seconds. Start with your name, sir.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wilson Mbugu from CBD. I'm very brief. Bwana Governor, how are you going to make the markets to be place where one can trade? Since we have so many markets, but they are a quarter full. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Faris Jen. I'm the national chairman at Mount Kenya Colleges and University Students Association. My question goes to the governor and the deputy governor. I want to first say that we are thankful that you have established a bursary of
one
1 billion.
Sir.
Yeah. And my question is, and this is more of a request, are you planning to work with student leaders because of those students who stay at who reside at the hostels? Because that is another constituent of people who came to Nairobi.
Working with student leaders. Thank you so much. Next question.
Okay.
Yes.
My name is Kennedy. Naitwa Keniga. Nimetoka Dandora. Ni usheriff. Yangu tu nikianza ya kwanza ni kuhusu Dandora Stadium. Ya pili ni we've got so many youths wenye hawako economically secure. Na wanalia marriage zao zinakuwa fairy tales. Najua governor kuna mpango venye anaweza chora maboi job.
So the stories are jobs. Okay.
Job.
Thank you. Next question. Can we pass the microphone to the back side over there? Yes.
My name is Robin.
Slightly louder.
Name is Robin.
Yes, Robin.
Nilikuwa nataka kuulizaje governor story ya trade. Wanapangaje kuweka traders in one specific place?
Manini?
Traders.
Wanataka kuweka traders same space.
Specific place.
Okay.
So that ukikuja tao unakuja unasema mimi nimeenda mahali fulani kuona traders inakuwa specific. Si kila mahali.
Okay. Mpango za kuweka traders in the same space so that security wako kila mahali. Let's answer those 4 questions really fast and then we move the microphone. Yes, ma'am. I'll allow you because you're standing.
Mzuri. Kwa majina ni Jane Kego ama Wakego. Mimi kuuliza kuhusu hii barabara ya 41. Imekuwa ndio watu wamekuwa wakidump. Imekuwa ndio kama takataka zimemwagwa. Ingine ni kuuliza hii dump site unaweza tafadhali perimeter wall. Kama wakati tulikuwa pale Shauri Moyo kuna mama alichomekewa moto tu ilitoka nyumba ziko hapo.
Okay.
Plus kuna manyoka zinaingianga kwa manyumba. Tunaomba tu kama kuna uwezekano
perimeter wall. Thank you, ma'am. All right, pass the microphones to the other side tafadhali that we answer the 4 questions really quick. Tuanze na stories za traders kwa market. Yes.
Na pia mawaziri wapatiwe maswali wajibu.
Yeah, Wilson, you talked about CBD and markets that are accessible. And I know what you're probably referring to is the markets that have been built in the past that people are not able to access. One of the things that we are going to do is we are not going to just build markets that we think are worthwhile. Part of what we have done is done some public participation work, and we continue to do that to refine where we actually situate these markets and how we build them, the kind of design we build them. Because if you find a market where people are situated, for example, you're selling vegetables at the top of a 4-story market, you may never find customers coming to that place, and therefore people get out and stand on the streets even when you have a market. So we are going to involve you in the design, in deciding where we locate these markets. Where we have markets already built like Mwarero, Karandini, and all those places, then we look at alternative ways of using those premises because already they've been built, and we need to be able to find a way of utilizing them. But it's a big issue. We need to bring markets to where they are. But overall, think about markets. In markets, people buy stuff a lot of the time when they're going home from work. And therefore, we want markets nearer the neighborhoods where people live, so that when you leave town or leave work, you don't have to first of all do shopping in town, because you know the market near your place will be open and you can buy what you need near where you live. That's why we are building the 20 markets, and we continue to build those markets to be able to bring access to goods and services nearer to where you work. And I think that ties to the other question that we had from Robbie about the accessible or accessibility of markets. It's the same concept. We must create markets near where people live so that they are able to shop and buy their stuff.
Okay.
On the Far East, and congratulations, I know you just won your elections the other day, and well done. The students are very integral to what we do. There are very many in town, there are very many in the things we do, and we welcome them to participate with us so that the things that we can involve them, especially when you're doing like public participation, when you're collecting data, there are people we can work with, and with your leadership, you can actually talk to us, and we find ways of engaging with yourselves to be able to work together for the betterment of the city county.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, that first point is really important. If you look at, for instance, Karandini, where in Dagoretti South, a market was put up, a huge market. We had sent, or rather the previous administration had sent the traders to a temporary site across the road. They have refused to go to that one because no one is going to go 4 or 5 floors to buy 3 tomatoes and 1 onion for that evening. So you must carry the people along as you do projects. It cannot be top down in terms of your projects. It must be bottom up. That you work with the people, you design it together, because people don't want malls. There's a difference between malls and a market. They want a place with water, electricity, some dignity, ablution facility, and you must put your markets and transport go hand in hand. There's a book about design without order, how markets define cities. It must go hand in hand. The reason you find traders or hawkers in the evening near bus stops is because someone just wants to grab the last thing before getting into the matatu. Yeah. So just the design and how we conceptualize it is important. Far East, of course, we must work with student leaders. I was one, and I know the value that you can be able to add. And we have changed our dockets. We have one of public participation led by Susan Silantoi. We have talent, skills, and care led by Brian Mulama. These are the people and inclusivity that are going to come and work with different sectors in the society, especially the young people. Because even though we are not too old, at least me, DG is also young, but we must have the voice of young people. And I keep telling you, if you're not on the negotiating table, you're on the menu. So you must choose whether you want to be on the table or on the menu. Kennedy, of course, Dandora Stadium, it must be done. There were challenges when I was senator. I helped deal with those. There was a legal challenge. Remember, it was the case that took our former governor to EACC, ETC. We've resolved that. Brian over there will tell you the contractor is getting back to site. You can ask Seke from Dandora, Godfrey Okoti, the chair, that not just Dandora. We're doing now on that same contract Dandora Stadium, Kiumbuini Stadium, Ndurarwa in Dagoretti South, as well as Ziwani, Umeme, where we do Kothbiro. So those are going on. And at the same time, the new ones we're doing is City Stadium, which we now call Joka Denge Stadium, to the standard it used to be. In fact, better. When we were kids, that was a legendary place. So Dandora Stadium, City Stadium, Joka Denge, and Woodley Stadium. Those are the 2 new ones that will come on top of those 4. Of course, Robin has asked a similar question. DG has been able to answer that. Wakigo, barabara ya 41. Hiyo barabara najua imekuwa na shida. Tulikuwa na shida ya materials. Tulipisha budget. Mbogo here will tell you that now we have the hardcore and the materials to sort out 41, because that is the access into the dump site. But beyond that, solution in Dandora haezi kuwa what has always been the problem. And that's why I keep saying, the same level of thinking that got into a problem cannot be the same one you apply to resolve it. We've always spoken about waste to energy, that we must produce energy from that waste. I'm glad to note that the expression of interest for the waste to energy project internationally, bid is out. It is closing tomorrow. We have many people from different countries who are interested in creating a 45 megawatt power plant. People have been talking about it. It's never been done. So let me stop talking about it. You will see it's going to be done, 45 megawatts, and just changing how we look at solid waste management. Okay. We've been able to collect more than 300,000 tons since we got into office. There were a lot of issues of illegal dumping and wrong dump sites. The workforce that used to sweep and have the cameros when we were growing up have all aged. We have now gotten an establishment of 3,000 young people to be hired. We're getting 10,000 on the greening plan.
Yeah.
We have increased the number of trucks, refuse compactors, and Maureen is here. She's in charge of Green Nairobi, which is our sector. We have called it Green Nairobi because that is the outcome that we want. And so there'll be accountability. I'll be able to know over here in, Kayole Spine Road, between this and this part, it is Esther who is in charge. If it is dirty, she's the one to sort it out.
Okay.
Before, it was just a business where people would mint money.
Okay.
But we're going to have a clean city and green city involving our young people.
Right.
So waste to energy is being done, including recycling that we've planned.
Let's take another set of 4 questions very briefly. Yes.
Good evening. Ken, youth leader, CBD. Mine is straight. Bona Governor, in the last session at Inoro TV, you talked about the border kiosks along the major roads within maybe CBD and Nairobi. How is the process going? The another question is...
one question, please. One question, please.
Admia, only 30 seconds. About the job opportunities within the county of Nairobi. We know your government is all-inclusive, and we would like for you to take youth groups which are organized so that they can work together with your government.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, you have the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Samson Otieno, and my question... Good evening. My name is Samson Otieno, and my question goes to the healthcare sector. The Nairobi Healthcare Task Force report indicated that there was a gap in healthcare workers in the county. How soon is your government planning? Is your government planning to employ healthcare workers in different cadres in the city?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, son. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. My name is Sean Francis. I'm coming from Kangemi, and that's where I will go after this session. My question is simply, when we were campaigning, you outspoken about the issues of school feeding program. Where are you on that? Secondly,
one question, please.
What is your plan on the issue of informal settlements?
Okay.
Thank you.
Next question, you have the microphone. We need to move the microphone to the back side. The back people have not said anything. Yes. Konyuma kabisa. Yes.
My name is Ezekiel Wawero.
Sorry, your name is?
My name is Ezekiel Wawero.
Yes.
Swali yangu ni kwa governor. Hii mambo ya moto kuwakawaka Gikomba na kila mahali unasikia moto imewaka, atasaidia aje kuzuia moto, ama ni mikakati gani ataweka kuzuia hiyo moto?
Sawa, those are 4 questions. Move the microphones to the back over there, that final line. Hakuna mtu ameongea huko, we want to hear what they have to say huko mwisho kabisa. Yes, let's take the 4 questions. Okay. Border kiosks, yes, and then those healthcare workers, when you can employ them, and motors za Gikomba.
Asante. Modern kiosks, BQs are ready. The process of procurement, of course, starts with having BQs and making sure that you have a standardized design. If you've seen the ones along, across Nairobi hospitals, that's the kind of design that we want to have, which looks neat. It is organized. Some of the areas where we already have traders, along Jogoo Road, Makongeni, along Outer Ring Road, Pipeline, we're going to install those ones. And interestingly, if you remember the discussion on TVETs, TVETs were being done at 76 million each. Now, the president actually advised me and said, when they had that problem, he sat down with Dr. Tarno of KTTC and said, look, can we build the same thing much less? Yeah. They went through it. They reduced the cost from 74 to 50 million. People said it can't be done, but they did 134. So I sat with this same boss of KTTC, Dr. Tarno, looked at Kangundo Road Market, for instance. Kangundo Road Market cost 868 million shillings, done through Kura. We sat down. We have reduced the cost of that kind of a market from 868 million to 575. So that means we're going to be able to do more. So of course for us, the bigger task was to reduce the cost of these modern kiosks, the wholesale markets, and the different trading facilities. BQs are out, procurement process is on. So you will start seeing them. And if you're interested as a youth group, come, Tafuta Fazul, Kanae, pali umekaa hapa au mawaziri, chukua namba yao, because we want to enable businesses. Contrary to what has been said out there, we are pro-business. We want to assist businesses to be stronger and to do well. Samson Healthcare Task Force, I'm grateful that Dr. Nyalita here, my CEC for Health, I was part of it together with, Professor Olive Mugenda, Dr. Girinji Gitahi, Dr. Skemunto, and a host of people. They gave us serious recommendations. I've converted them into an implementation committee of things that we need to do. Of course, there's a gap in the workforce. Remember, there were those who had been put on contract by NMS. We're going to, at least the contracts are still on. We're going to retain them. We actually need more of these health workers. Last week, we've sat with the County Public Service Board to put them into our establishment, because the process, you don't just hire if they're not provided for you in the staff establishment, because we need more of those. Remember, there were more than 24 hospitals done, but they didn't have staff. They have no equipment. They're almost like social halls, So now we're equipping them, we're putting staff. And those who are interested in working in Nairobi, please look out for those opportunities that are going to be coming. Sean Francis, school feeding, that is so close to our hearts. It is terrible that a county like Nairobi has a higher percentage of children per capita out of school than arid counties in this country because of no food. Urban poverty is worse than rural poverty. And because of that, our kids lose a third of their education. When they're told to go to home for lunch, they don't come back because there's nothing. And so, based on the pilot that was done in Dagoretti South in Mukarara, we have passed the budget. We've procured now the process of building 17 central kitchens. Yeah. So one kitchen is going to serve around 10 to 15 schools. So in every constituency, there's going to be one. I'm glad that a number of our MPs, and I really thank them, because I've had now, this is the second meeting with the MPs. Before, we'd never meet as Nairobi leaders. We've met twice. They have agreed to also do some, based on using their CDF. Yesterday, on Sunday, I was with the PS of Education at Lenana School, and we agreed that we can do an MOU. Previously, Nairobi transferred functions to the national government. Now, they're transferring to us the school feeding, because that is a national function. Informal settlements, I'll just say very quickly, because I can see how Trevor is sitting. There's no such thing as a 5-star slum. It can't work. And I'm very happy when we went to COP 27. I met Akinwumi, the World Bank, the Africa Development Bank president. And when he heard who I am, he said, Sakaja, I have told President William Ruto, Kenya cannot be number one. Nairobi cannot be number one in athletics and also number one in slums. Yeah. So what we want to do is not to improve or to upgrade, but to eradicate by building proper housing. And that's where the affordable housing program is coming. It won't change in a year or two, but we'll see it progressively. And where we move people from, there's a decanting that was done in Kigali. If we create space here where we've built for you, no Mabati will be let to come there. We'll put up another structure. And successively, private sector comes and puts in the money, they build, and they charge the people. Finally, fire in Gikomba has been a problem. The fires in Gikomba are caused by 3 reasons. Number one, I have spoke about illegal power connections. And I've explained what we're doing about those illegal power connections by actually regularizing, those who are distributing. Number two, which is a very bad reason, has been, some, insurance chasing. So sometimes some of the people there, because of insurance, they get involved in that. In China, I'm sure you know that, because that is Kamkunji part of it. And that one, we've worked with the companies, and that will stop. But the last one, which is most critical, is land speculators. There are people who've assumed that they own title and they want to ban and push people out. I'm very happy. Again, with support from the National Land Commission and the President, we are, I think, SG, when are we getting the title for Gikomba? We've done the survey 3 weeks ago. We've gotten the alert number. We've gone to Survey of Kenya. NLC is going to issue for us the title deed. If anybody is walking around with the title claiming they own land in Gikomba, they need to find something else to do with that paper, because that is public land for the people, and that's the biggest market in this part. All right.
DG, the next set of questions will come to you.
Oh, yes, and we're doing 2 fire stations. One fire station already being procured of Gikomba, another fire station in Kangemi.
All right. Let's start with the back over there. Uko mwisho kabisa. Because they have not said anything. And then here on this side, pass one of the microphones here. Hapa katikati mmeongea sana. Pass the microphone hapa hivi. Hapa katikati tafadhali. Yes, here. Hapa. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, my name is Jeff. Your Excellency, Governor, are you aware since that you ordered for the closure of nightclubs, So many people have lost their job, including myself. What can you do about that?
Okay. Second question.
My name is Josephine.
Yes, Josephine.
My question is concerning the sewer systems in Nairobi. What are you going to do about the bursting sewer systems every other day that is becoming a health hazard to our community?
Sewer systems, all right. Yes, sir.
My name is Hilam Kimani, and I want to ask a question in regard to hotel or hospitality industry. My question is your government considering to order entertainment joints to soundproof their businesses instead of closing them down altogether? On top of that, when we talk about the single business permit, we understood your promise as such, unified single business permit, and not one single portal. In our businesses, we are being charged about 8 business permits, and what are you doing about it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Fourth question, with the microphone. The microphone back there, yes.
Jina langu ni Grace Wangari. Asanteni sana. Sasa kuna swali moja nataka kuuliza. Sisi na pale Kirinyaga Road nimeona kuna kioski zinajengwa hapo na City Council. Na sisi sasa kama wale tunafanya pale kuja tunaziona alafu kesho yake tujuagi vile zinaendelea. Ya pili, kama mahali tunafanyia tuko na nini tumejenga za mabati. Ukitaka kulipa license, wanakuja wanasema hawawezi kapeana hizo za mabati.
Okay.
Ati hawatapeana nini. Lakini ukienda hali nyingine hata zile watu
okay.
License hizi tunataka kulipa.
Okay.
Na zetu tunaambiwa ni mabati na wale wanajenga zao za mabati.
Okay. Let's start with you, Governor. There's a question directly to you, then we go to DG.
Of course, the first question from Jeff is a question on the mind of many people, nightclubs and job losses. The licenses for nightclubs, of course, have conditions. Number one, you cannot be in a residential area. We have had several meetings before we took that action. The DG has chaired meetings with, I think, PERAC and different entities to say, you can do business, but be considerate of the next person. You know, the reason somebody in their house is not in your club is because they didn't want to come into the club. They want to be at home. We've given them time to soundproof. So we have not, and I don't know what job we used to do in the nightclub. Ulikuwa unafanya kazi gani, Jeff? Supervisor. Kama ulikuwa una supervise kelele ama ulikuwa una supervise biashara? Because I've said, if you turn down the music, you turn it into a bar and restaurant license kama iko kwa estate, kuna ingine unapata karibu na hospitali. Jameni, there's one example in Kileleshwa, next to hospital. Hii hospitali ni ya mental illness. Mtu wako hapo akuna addiction, labda ilikuwa ya pombe. Usiku anasikia wanasema tu, wainame ama wainame. Sasa, so mtu sasa si atarudi tu kwa hiyo shida yake. The point is, let's just be considerate about the next person. We are gazetting the entertainment districts in the city. CBD, parts of Westlands, parts of Upper Hill. Hapa kama Uhuru Park. Hapo mpige ile kelele mnataka. But mbona mtoto akose kufanya homework, juu wazee wanaburudika huko chini. You know? So shida yetu sio biashara. Shida yetu ni kelele. Wale wame soundproof, I want to thank them. And I want to thank so many of these who have actually taken the step. Wamepunguza kelele, wame soundproof. Pia makanisa, mingi zimepunguza. Juu ungepata zingine speaker inawekwa ikiangalia nje. Hata yangali ndani, wale wako ndani. But just thinking of the next person. Even the Bible says, consider others better than yourself. You know, so that is my humble appeal. That let's think about the next person. You can make money without being inconsiderate. Josephine umuliza mambo ya busting sewer systems. We've had an issue because of uncontrolled population, or rather planning. Watu wameongeza pressure on already congested system. Now the cost of sorting out the entire sewer system, all the plans ambazo ziko Nairobi, inakuja 16 billion shillings. Hiyo 16 billion, sisi kwa sasa hatuna. But what we've agreed, and part of what we're considering, and we've gotten a transactional advisor, ni vile tutaweka Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company to list it. If it is listed kwa stock exchange ama kwa securities market, we can be able to get investors. Kuna Wakenya wengi huko nje wanataka kupeana pesa kwa project yenye wanaona. As it is, the highest money we get in foreign exchange is remittances. Mtu wako huko England ama US anatuma pesa, lakini anatuma pesa ati ajenge nyumba, anapigiwa picha ya nyumba ya jirani, hata si yake, anapigiwa, anakuja anapata kuna kitu. Okay. So they would rather put that money into real estate in Nairobi, and that is what we're going to offer Nairobians.
All right. Allow me to pass this next one to the DG.
Okay, let me leave the other two. Yes. From Hiram and Grace.
Hillary and Grace also, because DG, the governor said that you have had a sit down with the bar and restaurant owners. What was the agreement? What deal did you get into?
Before I answer that one, let me answer the one about the unified business permit, because I think there's a bit of misconception. Yeah. I've talked to business people, and there's an expectation that if it's a unified business permit, then it's going to be priced differently. That's not what we intend to do. What we intend to do is simplify. Where we haven't succeeded in finishing the process, like I said earlier, is simplify the process of getting the license. So it is not going to be cheap. And I know it's good to clarify this for business people, that the costs that you've been incurring will still be part of that process. And that's an important distinction. The one about the sitting with the PERAC, which is a group that I've met twice. We agreed that, the bar owners, basically, we agreed that they will do some self-regulation, make sure that you do proper soundproofing, make sure that noise is not made in residential neighborhoods, make sure that we also review on our side in terms of the licensing to make sure that we don't license outlets in residential neighborhoods that would disturb the peace for people who want to otherwise enjoy a different thing in those homes. And this is what we are expecting. We do not intend to kill businesses. We do not intend to stifle businesses, but we intend to create order. We talk about a city of order and dignity. And therefore, like the governor said, when you're saying about creating spaces where we do this business, we should focus on doing it there. And that's where we shall create an enabling environment. So the question about soundproofing, it's important. And I know a lot of outlets have actually made an effort to do this, and we thank them for making that effort. I think probably we hadn't asked them to do that. That's why they're now doing it, and we expect them to continue doing that, and to also think about what do we do, because our zoning laws also have sort of been thrown out to the wind, and we need to enforce that a lot more. I know there are changes, things have been changing over time, and therefore the old zoning laws may not specifically apply, and the zones may not apply. But if we review them, then we can take people to where they don't create a noise for people who want to enjoy or do homework or sleep or whatever it is they do in their homes. So that's the focus, and that will continue until such a time that we have a proper understanding between the business people and the residents' associations, for example, and other stakeholders, just to make sure that we move this forward. On the kiosks, I think that is probably a matter of interpretation, because if you have a rule that applies in Kamukonji, it must apply also in Kasarani, it must apply in Kibera, it must apply in Dagoretti South, and so on and so forth. So that's probably something we just need to understand, why the difference in implementation. That is administrative, and we'll deal with it administratively.
Okay.
Yeah, just to add to that, we've already now developed draft new zoning framework for the city, new land use development policy, to keep up with the times. You know that now even in the CBD you can go up to 75 floors because Nairobi is growing and Nairobi is changing, as well as what we call the public addressing and street naming policy. Yeah, that is really, really important. We've just launched our GIS based valuation rule to bring back the values to the current rates. People are paying 1981 rates, but we'll allow people to pay the rates monthly, so that it is not a burden and you can see it as a service for us to be able to serve you.
Okay. So what happens to the residential areas that have also been converted into commercial.
So for those residential areas that have been converted into commercial, and this has happened world over, when cities grow, then you find, I don't want to call it gentrification, but people then move to quieter areas because, the city must develop and the city must grow. But that process of that change in the land use policy or the development control policy must carry the people along. And that's why this draft policy, as it comes to cabinet, will have a lot of public participation. And we knew that Nairobi will undergo a lot of changes. These are the only 5 years we have. If you don't, the city will go into anarchy. Trevor, there'll be discos everywhere, there'll be hawking everywhere, there'll be matatus everywhere. That's why we created a specific docket just for, and I think we're the first county to do that, a ministry just for public participation and engagement of citizens, because we must carry the people of Nairobi along, and they must own these changes that are coming to the city.
Okay, let's take the final set of 4 questions. Who has the microphone?
My name is Esther Mwaria. Mine is an observation on health facilities. Most of those dispensaries we have in the informal sectors, they don't have labs.
No labs. Okay.
Yeah, and patients are usually sent out in private clinics for tests.
All right.
Can the governor do something about it?
All right. Thanks, Esther. Yes, sir.
My names are Mohammed Ismail, known as China from Kamkunji. As you know, Isli is a business hub and also a residential area. There is no law and order when it comes to traffic. Day and day it is growing up. A lot of malls are being constructed. High-rise building has been constructed. Currently, all residentials, they have boreholes. And new structures are coming. They're also drilling boreholes. And there is no water totally. What are you doing about that? Secondly, about the hawkers and also the traffic. What plan do you have about that? Thank you.
Okay.
Hello. My name is Shi from Sarehe. Mine, I want to ask Bwana Governor, which plan do you have for the young mothers, those girls who get pregnant when at school? Maybe you can maybe have daycares in every ward where they can leave their kids and go back to school. What about the single mothers?
Okay.
You can give us a platform to do business. We can supply small things in county.
Okay.
Thank you.
That actually ties into the 30% AGPO that you are supposed to implement. Let's take another. Where's the microphone back there? There's no microphone back there. Okay. Pass the microphone back there for a final question. Kumwisho.
Hamjambo.
Yes, ma'am. Hatujambo.
Majina yangu naitwa Susan Wajiro. Jina ingine ni Mama Shiko kutoka Dadora. Gavana wangu, deputy wetu, tunampenda sana. Na ni kweli kazi mmefanya. Kwa hiyo Dadora tuko na shida. Gavana wangu, nakutanga gavana wangu, jueni wangu. Tuko na shida Dadora phase 5. Huko chini kuna watu wamejenga huko chini. Na ukienda huko hakuna mataa. Unapata hakuna security. Asubuhi watoto wakienda shule wako na mashinda. Juu wanapata pengine mtu ameulua hapo. Na kusema kweli askari wetu wanafanya kazi. Lakini wewe teremka huko chini juu hakuna security.
Okay.
Mataa inawekwa tu kwa barabara kwenye watu wanaona na kwenye uko karibu. Lakini huko chini kuko na shida. Ile ingine ni harakishe ni hizi mitaro zetu. Unapata takataka zinamwagwa kwa hizo mitaro. Sasa unapata watoto wetu wanagojeka juu hiyo takataka. Ile ingine ni hizi malori ya takataka. Zinakuja zimebeba takataka mingi sana. Unapata zimemwaga, zingine zimemwagika kwa barabara. Ni vizuri gavana wetu utuangalie. Ulituambia utakaa kama Kireresho. Na ni kweli utakaa kama Kireresho. Na tunakupenda, tunaona kazi yako.
Thank you,
Asanteni sana.
Asante. Final question over there. Yes.
My name is Emily Kwamboka from Mathare Sub-County. Yangu nataka tu kuuliza DG. Umeongelea maneno ya citizen participation. I believe that you have ward administrators in every ward. Is there any budget for at least for civic education? Is there any budget? Alafu SAKAJA'S manze. Umama watoto wa kule. Chukulike pia mademu wadogo at least stories za pads. Tafadhali.
Sawa. All right. Thank you. Yes, Governor. Esther on health facilities, they don't have labs. Ismail on random construction, Isili. She teenage pregnancies.
Asante sana Esther kwa swali yako ya labs. Kweli, kwa ile swali luzo hapo mbeleni, labda wale wako kwa hospitali zetu ambao wanafanya biashara zingine, unapata kuna watu ambao they own either labs outside ama madawa zinaenda kwa pharmacies watu wengine. Part of what we're thinking of is to think outside the box to work with the private sector. Kusema, you come, set up over here in our facility, because lab is a profit thing. You can make money actually from those tests. Unapata tuna reagent, juzi nilienda Mutwini, unapata ile machine kwa hapo, na ile reagent ni tofauti. And I was with you, both of you are there as well, Lydia Kwamboka and the CEC. So what we're going to do, for a lot of the lower level hospitals, we'll partner with those who provide those services in our hospitals and agree on a revenue share. Because they're looking for their money, na tunatumia NHIF, zitakuwa kwa hospitali zote. You know, the work of government, sisi sio kutengeneza pesa, but kupeana huduma. Ya pili, Mohamed Ismail, Kamkunji. Kamkunji is a serious economic frontier. Na hata kesho asubuhi nakutana na Isili Business Community. Sijui kama unajua ama uko miongoni mwao saa 5. Tumekubaliana hivi, na nilimwomba rais juzi, na nafikiri mliona akikubali. Development ya Kamkunji ilikuwa imesimamishwa kwa sababu ya airbase, because of the military facility. Na hiyo airbase ilitengenezwa ili kuwe na evacuate rais wakati wa emergency. Now if you think about it, leo kuwa na emergency, hiyo traffic ya kufika Isili peke yake itafanya kwame. Nikamwambia please review this, and he said he is the commander in chief, tutaweza kupanda juu zaidi and redesign it. The economy of Isili alone, if you had Isili and maybe Westlands and Starehe, is more than Rwanda, you know, and so we need to help it. Hao mahawkers ambao kwa hapo tunazungumza nao, vile tumefanya mpango ya town, sio kufukuza hawkers. Nikubaliana na hao, hawezi kuwa unauza t-shirt nje ya duka yenye nauza pia hiyo t-shirt, na mwenyewe duka analipa rent na anatulipa rates, na wewe pia uko hapo nje unauza the same thing. Tuwapatie mahali ya kufanya biashara yao katika zile barabara ziko katikati hizo manyumba. Tumewaregister 6,000 of them in town. Tunawapatia, kama namba yako ni 425, unajua from this time to this time niko Dubois, ama niko hapa nyuma ya Accra, ama niko Yomalin. Tuko na 225 million shillings. We were able to unlock. From 2019, 922 million was stuck for Nairobi roads at the Kenya Roads Board. We were able to unlock it. They have given us that money. Kuna work plan mingi zinafanya barabara industrial area na Isili, zile ambazo zilikuwa zimekwama, but 225 million of that is actually coming to do the roads within the lower CBD. Watu waleka kabro hapa tu pale wadosi wanaona, ukienda huko chini, ukienda Nyamakima, uende Kirinyaga Road, uende Grogon, uende Kamkunji hapa town, it is terrible. So those roads are going to be done, and that process is actually ongoing. Yeah. Young mothers na single mothers, mimi nawafikiria sana, pia hata single fathers wako siku hizi. Lakini what's important is getting a child must not be the end of anybody's education. The policy that we have in the city is that we must give them a second chance. Tumeongeza ECDs, budget ya ECDs through WDF, wale ambao MCAs wetu. Najua leo walikuwa wanasema hawana project mpya, but ziko, tunafanya supplementary. Ilibidi kwanza tulipe zile ambazo zilikuwa pending. Hawezi wacha zile zimefanywa karibu zikamilike, alafu wanze ingine kabla ya kumaliza kulipa hizo, because we don't want to incur pending bills. So tuangalia daycare centers kwa design yetu ya masoko. For instance, tumesema lazima kuwe na ile inaitwa creche ama lactation room. Pali, you know, you can breastfeed the child, wanaweza chungwa by a trainer wakati mother anaenda kuhustle. Okay. Alafu wakati tutapata pesa ile fund yetu ambayo tuliahidi, single mothers will have a special category over there.
DG can handle the Dandora Phase 5 lights and security issue and dumping of garbage, and Emily's question on budget and civic education.
He is very competent to handle that.
I think the question on Dandora, the governor addressed it earlier in terms of the EOI for creating a waste-to-energy factory or a setup in that place. That's going to create not just energy that you can feed back into the streets, but also suck up energy. What we're looking to doing is creating, shall I call it, a monster that is hungry of garbage, and therefore suck it out from these places in the trenches, in the river. You go to that river, there is filled up with garbage. We are going to create outlets that actually pull out this garbage, generate power, and therefore be able to do this. In the short run, of course, we will need to look at other areas we can make interventions with emergency solutions to be able to solve that problem. But the overall thing is to be able to do better planning so that we can allow our people in those places to live in dignity. And along that, we must also look at, we are also working with the non-state actors, NGOs, that are in the FSM, in the sludge management industry, and we have seen solutions that we can actually use. Because some of those areas, even cleaning it up is a problem. You actually get difficulties in cleaning them up. So we are working with those actors to be able to introduce methods of generating energy and power from that sludge. And finally, on the citizen participation, we have budgets in every sector because it's a requirement of the law. We have to do citizen participation. We cannot skip it. We cannot avoid it. We cannot wish it away. It has to happen.
Okay. DG, yes.
Yes. Kwa sababu Wajiro from Dandora ameuliza swali muhimu sana about security your area. Unakumbuka vile tuliingia kulikuwa na a lot of hue and cry about watu kupigwa ngeta, nyongo, lotao. The crime had really gone up. I met with the Inspector General of Police. We agreed with the new regional commander. I'm very glad to report, leo nimezungumza na Bungei kabla kuja hapa. We used to have more than 200 cases reported daily. Right now they have gone to less than 10 recorded daily, and we want to take that number down. Of course, some are not reported. Kama hizo za huko mtaa huko chini. Mambo ya lighting, tumeweka facilities. How many have we added, Bogo? Hii mataa, tumeorder, we already did around 800 new lights, 669 going up. We have gotten now the materials to make sure every part of the city is now fully lit. Okay. We're taking over those bills. You will see Ngong Road, for instance, getting lit very soon. In many areas that have not been lit. But hiyo ingine ni muhimu, juu lazima wasikie. Tumekutana hapa, Maureen and I've seen Malawi here somewhere, with the private garbage collectors. Hapa, tukakubaliana, standard ya gari ambao unatumia, haizi kuwa inamwaga takataka while you're collecting garbage as you go around. So they must be covered. And even for those who are going to get the contracts, which are closing tomorrow, actually, tomorrow is Tuesday, they're closing tomorrow, there's a new standard of how your vehicle must look like and how it must operate. And illegal dumping, they're fine. You know, once we've put the bins, Jordan Luisa, unasema tusitupe na hujatupatia bins. We're creating bins. You know, in dense areas, we'll say every 50 meters, or in the shorter streets, every corner, you'll have a big bin that is clearly marked that you use. We have put skips. I'm sure around some of those big skips. But if you dump illegally, you know, like what China was asking about in Isili, your median katikati, tunakuja tuna clear takataka in 3 hours, mmerudisha hapo katikati. Now, surely, how do we deal? All right. You know, so. Okay. So yeah, so we create those dumping zones. Okay. But we don't create many dandoras. We're doing what we call circular economy. All right. So material recovery facilities, what we reduce ultimately the amount of garbage that goes to the final destination.
There are some MCAs from Nairobi City County. Just a show of hands, just stand and wave. I think there are 2 of them who came through. Asanteni sana for being here, waheshimiwa. Governor, you wanted to take your MCAs to the president.
Yes.
And the deputy president said that they have to be first vetted to see if they agree with the current regime. Are you at loggerheads with the deputy president when it comes to the political?
No. I think our political philosophy in our party, UDA, is very clear. And, you know, people are trying to create rifts where they don't exist. I have a lot of respect for the deputy president and for all our leaders. We campaigned on the same manifesto. That is, you know, kazi ni kazi, pesa mfukoni. So some things are brought out on a light touch, you know, because, you know, the president went, and I was saying the president went to Nyanza, he met the governors, even from different parties, he met the senator, the MPs, they discussed development. You know, many times Nairobi is forgotten. People think Nairobi has no, you know, owners, but, you know, the people of Nairobi are the owners. And so I was asking the president, please, let's have our leadership. Nairobi is mixed politically. You know, I'm the governor and DG is the deputy, we're on UDA. The senator is ODM, the women rep. We have MPs from different parties. We have Wiper. We have Chama cha Kazi, you know, in the county assembly. And so Nairobi, you cannot run a divisive political philosophy. You know, we need everybody on board. Politics is over. We are working for everyone. Whether they voted for us, whether they didn't vote for us, whether they are in Kenya Kwanza or in Azimio or with Wajakoya, whoever it is, if you're a person in Nairobi, expect us to serve you without any discrimination.
There are those who are saying you should have absolute loyalty to Kenya Kwanza because you came in under UDA. But there are those who are saying you're leaning more towards Azimio also at the same time.
I'm 100% loyal to my party. And that's why I'm explaining the philosophy of our party. Okay. Our party's philosophy is one of inclusivity. It is one of politics is not enmity. It is one of, we don't have constant, you know, unending political duels when we should actually be serving the people. Okay. And that is why our party leader is leading from the front. When you see him with Orengo, does it mean he's not loyal to UDA? When you see him with Gladys Wanga, does it mean the president is not loyal to Kenya Kwanza? So we are following the philosophy of my political mentor, William Ruto, and embracing everybody and working with them.
All right.
And that is how we shall do it.
Okay.
And we're telling our young people that, you know, politics is not enmity. And I said the other day, these young people who will go for this rally or that rally, they're there because they're hungry. They want opportunities. In Nairobi, hakuna njaa ya Mkikuyu tofauti na ya Mluya. The pain Mama Njeri feels when she can't feed a child is the same as Mama Akinyi. Okay. We have more that unites us than divides us. And that is a position we stand on and we hold true, and that is Nairobi for you.
All right. Deputy Governor, your final remarks on this conversation. I know we want to keep you off the politics.
Yeah, I think I'd just like to assure Nairobians and everybody watching us that Nairobi is in safe hands. Okay. Nairobi, under the leadership of Governor Sakaja and myself and all the leadership team that we have put together, we are committed to deliver. We will deliver. Just give us a chance to get that done.
Okay. Governor, closing remarks. There are many people who are complaining that your manifesto is fantastic, but it's taking a bit more time to implement. It's taking longer than they anticipated. Your final remarks.
If you read our manifesto, we said there'll be no quick fixes. We are dealing with, you know, a county government and in an area that had, you know, systemic structural problems for a long time. When we got sworn in on the 25th of August, 4 days later we came here and we met more than 9,000 staff. We have 14,342. And when we met them, we told them, things are going to change, but we will work with you. Okay. We will not come imagining we know everything. We will work with you. They never used to get their salaries on time. They're getting the salaries on time. In fact, this month, salaries were paid on the 27th, which was never seen before. I think that's a record. Those in the bank, in Corp Bank, got on 27th, the rest got on the 28th. There are diversions of their you know, deductions, NHIF, NSSF. We are paying those and giving them everything on time. Our revenue has been going up steadily from the time we came in, and we've launched Nairobi Pay, which is fully digital. In August, we collected 341 million shillings. In September, 360. In October, 378. In November, 440 million. In December, 600 million. This month that is ending tomorrow, we've collected 1.4 billion shillings. And so I'll ask the people of Nairobi to give us a chance, to give us this opportunity to work with us. Okay. If Nairobi works, Kenya works. Okay. And anybody who doesn't want us to work is like cutting off your nose to spite your face. If Nairobi works, Kenya will work. All right. And that is where we're going to.
All right. Thank you so much for making time for us. His Excellency Sakaja Arthur Johnson, Nairobi Governor, and His Excellency Njoroge Mushiri, Deputy Governor for Nairobi. I want to recognize the presence of all the CECs here and sincerely apologize to the entire team of audience. I know you had many questions, and I know the Governor has seen the number of people who have raised their hands, so we'll get another opportunity again to sit down and have this conversation. All right. It's 159 days, maybe at the 200th day, then we'll take stock again of what's been going on. I want to thank you so much for being here on Monday Report. Town Hall session ends right now. My name is Trevor Ombija. It's always a pleasure having you with us. Good night.